Hey there. Welcome to the What's Your Potential coaching program. I'm Sai Vasam, life and career coach. I help young professionals overcome their quarter-life crisis in a variety of areas, including their career, their community, and their lifestyle. I put on hats of therapist, consultant, and coach to help them achieve that. I've helped over 9 clients right now achieve things like a better position at their company, newer jobs that make them feel more fulfilled, better social circles around them that they don't feel alienated by, and a lot more. So in this video, I kind of want to share a few things, including my story, how I got here where I am, and who I help. So to help understand that, let me take you back to my grade school years. I was a pretty good student. Growing up, I was told I was pretty smart. I won the 7th grade chess championships in Kansas. I got 3rd place in state in the geography B as a 5th grader. I got 33 and 2240 on my ACT and SAT tests respectively. I was a tennis varsity athlete for 3 years of my 4 years in high school. I was part of NHS. I was national merit commended for PSAT, like all these sorts of things that, around me, everyone was telling me my grades were really high. I graduated in the top 10 in my high school out of 340 students with a 4.3 weighted GPA. I share all these things, not to brag, but just to share, everyone around me was telling me I was pretty smart. I was a good student, and life was pretty easy for me. And what do good students do? They go into STEM. They become doctors, they become engineers, they become lawyers, they become something related to the STEM field. And that was my path. My dad was in IT, is in IT, and he told me, what's going to get you the most money and have a stable job is if you go into computer science. So I graduated from high school, went to school at UT Austin, and majored initially in computer science. And then when I switched, before I switched, I didn't really feel fulfilled. In my first semester, I cried a lot. I didn't like the classes. I didn't like coding. I didn't necessarily see myself sitting behind a desk and doing programming, software engineering, anything like that. And then after a few semesters, begrudgingly, of persisting through getting help from other people, I finally switched and stayed within the STEM fields, but I switched to mathematics. So I wanted to combine, or this is what my thought process was at the time, I wanted to combine my computer science background with my math background and go into data science. And data science was a pop-in field and continues to grow today with AI, data science, machine learning, all these buzzwords. And that was the path. And a couple years later, I graduated with a degree in math and specifically stats and data analysis, was on the path to becoming a data scientist. You need a couple of years, so that was my plan. Work for a couple of years, get some technical skills, and then work in data science. And then, so I graduated in May 2018 from UT Austin. And then I got a job as a tech consultant. So again, through college, through high school, all this sort of stuff, I was still in the STEM field. And continuing with my first job out of college, I stayed within the STEM field. I was a tech consultant, but I didn't really consult anyone or anything. I was just kind of a glorified developer. I was doing data visualization, data engineering, fancy words for making cool charts and graphs for internal and external people within the company and clients that we worked with. But after 6, 9, 12 months working there, there were 2 breaking points that I had. I want to share those quick stories here. The first one was in March of 2019. We started working with a company that manufactured gas pumps. So if you go to a gas pump just to fill up your gas, there's a company on there that actually creates the physical pumps. So not like BP or Shell, but it's physical products. And I've run into a few of them when I fill up my gas, and it's like, oh, throwback. So when we started working with it, there was a moment during that engagement where I was like, who am I like helping here? Like I'm helping this company sell more gas pumps, and in a way, like I feel like I contributed in my small way to global warming and climate change, and that didn't sit well with me. So that was the first piece, first little breadcrumb. The second straw that ended up breaking the camel's back was in June 2019. A few months later, there was a town hall in Atlanta where I was working, and it was 200, 300 people there, food, drinks, and a few people spoke, like the department heads, the city heads, etc. And one of the people came up and spoke, and he said, here at Capgemini, we believe in three things: money, financials, and the bottom line. I did a double take. I was like, what? Like, that's all you care about? Like, not like community or people or service or, mission, stuff like that. Or even like clients or, it's like making money. And at that moment, I still remember it vividly. I was holding my pizza and was in the middle of taking a bite. And like when he said that, I was like, I think that's a sign for me to look in another direction. So that's when I started frantically applying to a lot of positions all over the country in any sort of industry, any sort of company that was willing to take me. So I was still only about a year into my professional career. I had a few skills, but I wanted to see what was out there. So I applied to positions in marketing, applied to positions in product marketing, and any other tech fields. Literally any position that had a 1 or 2 year required experience, I was like, let me give it a shot. So I still have the spreadsheet now, but I applied over 200, 250 positions all over the country, from Florida to Seattle to New York to Texas, everywhere. And finally got a call back from a company that was based in Atlanta, and it's called To You Laundry. And got the phone screen, made it past that, got a few more rounds of interviews, a technical one. This was for a growth marketing position. So it's a company based in Charlotte that was hiring out a marketing team in Atlanta. They already had 7 people on the team, and they were looking for an entry-level marketing position. And lo and behold, they took a chance on me. In September 2019, they extended the invite, or the offer. And after a little bit of discussion with my parents, my family, other people, some people telling me no, this is a $20,000 pay cut. Like, who knows? Like, here's all the risks about it. But I was like, hey, I need to get out of here. I don't like what I'm doing right now, and I don't know if I will like what I do at this job, but it's at least not what I have right now. And that's a step forward. It's a step away from my current position, this dead end. So I took it. I trusted my intuition, trusted my gut, and I took the offer. And this was a tumultuous time overall in September, October 2019. In a span of 4 weeks, I broke up with my then girlfriend at the time. I accepted the position at To You Laundry and started the position a few weeks later. I got my wisdom teeth removed, and I had my car stolen and found a couple weeks later, which I still have right now. And I got my USA citizenship. So first, second generation immigrants from India. And so like all of that happened within the span of a month. So you can imagine it was, when it rains, it pours. And this was definitely true in that time. So long story short, the company, the To You Laundry, had about 30, 40 full-time employees when I joined in October 2019. And then through COVID, downsized to about 10 to 15 employees. And me and Dan, one of the co-founders and the person building out the marketing team in Atlanta, him and I were the only 2 of the 8 people that moved from Atlanta to Charlotte. Took a risk during, June, July, August of 2020. We didn't know what the health landscape was going to be like. We didn't know what the economic landscape, the social landscape, everything, like the financial landscape of the company itself. Are we going to be solvent in a few months, right? All these sorts of things that were lots of unknowns in that COVID era. But eventually, through 2U and LaundroLab, which was the brand that we incubated during my time there, which is a laundromat franchise brand. It's kind of think of it as the Ritz-Carlton of laundromats, where we have these really nice amenities. It's always fully staffed. It's not these dingy places, unlit places that you go to. It's, yeah, there's people there, it's vibing, there's a community, all these sorts of things. And I was a marketing manager there. But long story short there, I learned all these skills in my time there about marketing, obviously the technical side of marketing. I was doing digital marketing with Google Ads, Facebook Ads, managing people who did that, managing agencies, working with different vendors. And then on the franchise side with LaundroLab, I understood retail marketing now. I understood event marketing, where we would put on free laundry days as grand openings as these stores opened across the country over my time there, where hundreds of people would come, tens of thousands of free pounds of laundry would be done during those days. And so event marketing, retail marketing, digital marketing, everything under the sun in terms of marketing, I at least had an understanding of. I could speak that language. But the other side of this was, as I look back now, it was a time where I combined this STEM background of, really technical side, this left brain side of me, with the right brain side of marketing and creativity, where you have to have the technical side of understanding, all right, here's the optimizations that we're going to make, and here's 1% increments, and that really compounds over time as you spend more on marketing. As well as the creative side, thinking about the overall strategy for marketing. How are we going to get customers to come in? It's the right message at the right time to the right person. And how do we do that? Thinking about the retail customer in LaundroLab, as well as the pickup and delivery service customer, who are two different types of people, two different demographics and the way they think, their customer behaviors, etc. So all that to say, this was the bridge. My time at 2U Laundry was the bridge from this technical side, this really STEM-based thinking, into more of a creative side, to more of a combination of the two. It was a bridge between these two worlds. Now on the personal side, I've just explained kind of a lot of the professional things. So on the personal side, as COVID started, as we entered the COVID era, now the post-COVID era, there were a lot of things that I got into myself. I was still 23, 24 years old, understanding what life was like after college. So some of the things that I got into was reading, writing, running, Tai Chi, just building overall community and social circles around me, and meditations, taking different courses, working with coaches, etc. For reading, I didn't really like reading. So I liked reading as a small child, but high school, college really took that out of me. I forgot what joy it brought me. Where I could read a novel, I could read nonfiction, I could read historical fiction, I could read an autobiography, whatever it was. It just brought me these insights and ideas that I didn't know I really liked until I actually started doing them. And I actually took a course a couple of years ago from Jim Quick, which was speed reading. And I've doubled my speed reading and my reading speed since then. And definitely recommend it, by the way. Writing, I didn't really like writing either. It was always, going back to high school and middle school, it was writing for a grade, writing for, hey, this is going to be judged, instead of, what about writing for emotional expression? What about writing for creative ideas? What about writing for just yourself as a way to get into flow? And that's what I really bought into. I got in my room all these journals, these books and books, notebooks of all these notes that I've taken, how I feel, what I've done, who I've met, all these sorts of things. I also got into running. If you asked me in 2020 at the beginning, how much could I run? I'd probably say a mile or two. And in March, April, I remember running 1.5 miles, 2 miles, and being gassed and thinking, wow, I really accomplished something. And at the time I did. But fast forward a couple of years, I kept running. It was a way for me to get into flow. And Then I was running in 2022, 10 miles, 13 miles, just for fun on the weekends, and eventually completed the Charlotte Marathon in November 2022. And that still is probably the highlight of my physical peak, or the best physical achievement that I've had, running the marathon, finishing 26.2 miles. I also started doing Tai Chi in January 2021, going to a Kung Fu and Tai Chi school and working with the master there. And really understanding, so Tai Chi is a martial art, but it's a slow-moving martial art. It's the flow of energy. And I really understood the phrase, slow is smooth and smooth is fast. We want to be going at 100 miles an hour, doing this, that. But really, how can you slow down? How can you be more aware of your physical movement, of feeling more balanced and grounded while still moving? So it was a moving meditation that I felt when I did Tai Chi in class and when I practiced it outside of it as well. Then I took different courses, different meditations, thinking about my money mindset. What are my limiting beliefs? The power of manifestation. Again, I mentioned the speed reading, these different creative meditations, not just emptying the mind, but these meditations where you can project out into the future and imagine your future self. So I explored all these things from 2020 onwards, and I really fell in love with those things. And that was really what, that was on the personal side of things. And what I really learned was I have to invest in myself. This is what investing in myself looks like. I didn't really know what that meant as a young adult, but I think now I'm starting to understand that. So for example, I took these $50 courses, $100 courses like for a weekend, and that was like my first foray into, I can spend money and I can improve as a result of it. Then I signed up for Mind Valley, where I took a few courses online where it was like $500, $600 a year for that. So that was a little bit higher pricing. And then in 2022, I joined a community, a lot of just badass entrepreneurs, corporate people, just people doing cool stuff. And it was a way to bring those people who were like-minded, who had the creative side, who had the logical side, and bring them together, who were doing cool things. Like some of them were coaches, some of them were interior designers and home organizers. Some of them were CPAs who had a small business. All these, an eclectic group of people who had these shared values in achieving something more for themselves and for their families and their friends. And I spent thousands of dollars on those. So going from tens of dollars to hundreds of dollars to now thousands of dollars. I joined this community, spent $3,600 taking a course that would help me build my business from concept to cash flow over 3 months. And that transitioned into this Grab Life by the Goal Squad that Lauren Woodrick has. So shout out to Lauren. And so I joined that, and then I worked with a coach. Shout out to Langston White. I spent $5,000-$6,000 over the course of 5-6 months with him, and he really helped me get my business off the ground from this concept into this has product market fit. And so that's what I really understood. Okay, if I really want to improve something in specific areas of my life, I have to invest in that financially, time-wise, energy-wise, and that's what I did at an increasing level. I spent tens of dollars to hundreds of dollars to thousands of dollars. And that was a block that I had before, but now I don't feel that block anymore. And that's what I want you to feel. As I start working with young professionals, as I have in the last 12 months, that's what I've seen. So I'll just drop it right now. My services are $350 a month right now. It's a base rate. And it seems like a lot, but in the grand scheme of things, it's really not. It was a lot for me when I was investing tens of dollars in courses and maybe even hundreds of dollars over the course of a year. But when I see the differences that investing thousands of dollars made in my own life over the last 12, 16 months, investing a few $100s a month into having someone that is helping you step by step every week is there's no words to describe how valuable that is. So let me kind of finish up the story here, where I started this coaching business about a year ago. Like I mentioned, I've worked with clients in the last 12 months who, in their social circles, I've helped them level up, going from very few friends that they hung out with on the weekdays and weekends to hosting parties at their home, being more fulfilled, doing something outside of their work, even though their job is a dead end at a Fortune 500 company, helping someone go from their 20-30% ideal lifestyle if they had to break down their calendar, and they're living 20% of their ideal life, to now, just 6 months working with them, they're living 70-80% of their ideal lifestyle. They've moved jobs, making more money, having their own business, traveling more, working out more, all these things that you thought you couldn't have, all of it, they are living that dream right now. And they're only 24. So you can have it. I've helped people find jobs and internships after just working a few months with them. One of them is working in the media industry. And it's tough because he was having a visa situation, because since he's an immigrant and has to deal with that. So all these sorts of things that I've helped with on the career side, on the community side, and people who are moving to new cities. How do you adapt to the new city? What are the lifestyle changes and habits that you want to inculcate? These are the things that I help people with. And so, to catch you up here, I left To You Laundry, since I was speaking about that in the past tense. I left To You Laundry and LaundroLab in June 2023 and took the leap and jumped into the deep end of entrepreneurship and self-employment. And it's recording this in December 2023, and 5-6 months later, I don't regret it one bit. It's the best decision ever, because I've found this freedom. I've found, even though I'm making less money right now than a full-time salary, nothing really beats doing what you love. And it sounds cliche, but until you actually experience it, you won't really understand it. And so if you want to improve your career, your community, your lifestyle, who you are, understand who you are a little bit better, then invest in yourself, right? I'm not going to say work with me, but invest in yourself somehow. First start doing those courses like I did, that were just tens of dollars, $50, $100, then work to hundreds of dollars. And then that's when you come to me and are like, Sai, I want to invest in myself in these specific areas of my life because I feel unfulfilled. I don't like the social circles that I have. And that's when you reach out to me. And that's when we can work together. So that's my background. That's my story. Deep breath. I love meditating, man. And taking deep breaths and deep sighs. So I hope you enjoyed me sharing my story, and I hope you're writing your own story as well. Writing your story that you can share with yourself, with your partner, with your kids, with friends. And I hope you're proud of writing that story for yourself. And if you want to rewrite your story, rewrite a chapter of your life, write a new chapter of your life that you actually author and not someone else, not society, not your family, not the world is telling you what to do. But if you want to author your own story, work with me. Join me and click the button on this page or on my website if you're watching it on YouTube, and let's chat. And let's really realize what your full potential is. Thank you. I'm Sai Vassam, life and career coach, and I will see you soon.